Hello, my name is Jeb Sherrill, and I am not a guitar teacher. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Chair System. Today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to switch from major to minor and minor to major, still just using this one shape. And we're going to use the same shape we used before, the G chair, but today there is another one right underneath it. Now, instead of being beside it like the other one, this chair is coming straight off the very last note, that E there, the E minor root, as opposed to the G major root. Now, the reason that we're using the second root instead of the first root is because if we made a chair off the G, it would be going off the fretboard, and that wouldn't do us a whole lot of good. So instead, we are making an E major chair off that E right there. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Just like this chair, except it's coming off the E. Now, the cool thing about this is you can immediately tell what the different notes are between the major and minor chair, because obviously all the notes in this chair are going to belong to E minor. The notes in this chair are going to belong to E major. And there's two notes they have in common. We've talked about this a little before, but now you can actually visualize what those notes are, because they are the second and the fifth. This is the lower fifth. This is the higher fifth. So this is the E major root, second, low fifth, high fifth. These notes it does not have in common. Why? Because this is E major, this is F sharp, this is G sharp, B, that's one that you do have in common, that is the second, and of course you have C sharp. So this chair is an E major chair, it's also a C sharp minor chair. So let's say for a moment that this chair was a G. Just imagine it for a moment that this was a G chair and that this note was G. You could just make this chair off it and say, oh, well now it's a G minor chair instead of a G major chair. So not to confuse you, just that's what it would be if you had to make this the chair off this note right here. You'd start right here, just like right here. You'd go up, and then you'd have three more right here off the fretboard, which we can't really do. So we're just doing it with the minor for the moment. But this is a very easy way to just make a major or minor chair off either of these roots, and then immediately knowing what notes they are. Now, just knowing that the second and the fifth are always going to be the same is really, really useful when you're improvising, when you're playing in general. That's incredibly helpful. But this also tells you what notes you don't have in common. And it's just a way that you can switch from major to minor, because it's very useful to be able to do that. To be able to go, okay, I'm playing in minor, now I want to play major. Or I'm playing in major, now I want to play in minor. You can just make a major or minor chair off really any note within this chair, and you are going to be using that later on when you start playing over chords, because once you have the single chair and you can make major and minor chairs off all those notes, you will know what notes you're playing over different chords. That's going to be a much later lesson, but it is something you'll be able to do. So, first of all, please like and subscribe this channel. It really does help me out an awful lot when you do that, and helps me keep going. Now, obviously, you don't necessarily want, if you're playing in E minor and you want to switch to E major, you won't necessarily want to switch down to this chair going down this direction. There's another E up here. You can build a chair off that. You can do all kinds of different things. Once you know the rest of the pattern, you're going to know where all the other E's are, or rather, maybe I should just say where all the other roots are. So let's say for a moment you wanted to try a chair just randomly somewhere on the fretboard. Let's come down here. And you want to make a chair off the minor root. Here's your minor root. Let's say you wanted to do the opposite. Let's say you have a chair right here. And you wanted to make a major chair, or rather a minor chair, off the major root. Here's your major root. Back to your original chair. And the other chair. And that is just a great exercise you can do to start figuring out really how the fretboard is laid out when you start seeing these major and minor chairs. Minors made off major roots, majors made off minor roots, back and forth. Try that out, and I will see you on the next episode.